Good afternoon. It has been a long time since you people had classes. I hope you're all taking precautions during the lockdown. But we have to resume your classes, and from the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology, the original scheduled class of 4th of April was hormonal contraception, oral and injectable. So though actually the introductory class was supposed to be held the beginning of this week, so that will be taken later. But you people already had lectures on contraception in community medicine, so at least the basics of contraception you are aware of. So today we'll be taking hormonal contraception, the oral and the injectable part. So specific learning objectives of today's class is, at the end of the class, the student should be able to enumerate types of hormonal contraceptives, describe mechanism of action of oral hormonal contraceptives, describe types of oral hormonal contraceptives, enumerate advantages, side effects, contraindications of oral contraceptives, and describe injectable hormonal contraceptives. The hormonal contraceptives are very popular worldwide. They are the preparations used for reversible suppression of fertility. Since there are many advantages of hormonal contraceptive, the need of the day, after the hormonal contraceptives had become popular, mortality rate has declined considerably in women because of the decrease in the maternal mortality rate. And other contraceptive methods have got higher failure rate as compared to the hormonal contraceptives, and that's why this contraceptive is quite useful. So worldwide, many women use hormonal contraceptive, though it is not that popular in our country. It is said more than 100 million women use this form of contraception. By use of this contraceptive, fertility can be suppressed at will as long as the woman desires, and the fertility returns on discontinuation of hormonal contraceptive. It's quite safe to use, very convenient to use, and the cost is also quite low. So hormonal contraceptive can be administered in various forms. The most popular form is, or the most popular route is oral route. So there are various types of oral contraceptive pills which are mainly being used. Then there are injectable forms of hormonal contraception. There are various implants which are usually inserted in the subdermal region. Vaginal hormonal contraception in form of vaginal rings are also there. And then transdermal patches, mainly of estrogens, are available. And then there is a levonorgestrel intrauterine system, popularly known as Mirena, which will be discussed in detail when the intrauterine contraceptive device will be discussed. So what are the mechanism of action of hormone contraceptives? The main mechanism of action is inhibition of ovulation. It acts on the HPO axis, that is hypothalamus-pituitary axis. There it inhibits gonadotropin release. The estrogen component of hormonal contraceptives suppresses the gonadotropin release and follicular stimulating hormone, and thus prevents follicular growth. Progestin component of hormonal contraception suppresses the luteinizing hormones and thus prevents ovulation. Both estrogen and progestin synergize to inhibit mid-cycle luteinizing hormone surge, which is responsible for ovulation. So if there is inhibition of the mid-cycle LH surge, there is no ovulation. The release of gonadotropin releasing hormone from the hypothalamus is prevented through a negative feedback mechanism. Since estrogen and progestin components are present in the circulation, they have a negative feedback mechanism on the hypothalamus. That's why the release of the gonadotropin releasing hormone is suppressed. And in turn, the release of FSH and LH is from the anterior pituitary is also decreased. Whenever the oral hormonal contraception is being used, there is no peak, that is, there is no pulsatile release of follicular stimulating hormone or luteinizing hormone from the anterior pituitary. Because of this, there is no follicular growth and there is no recruitment of the new follicles, and thus there is no dominant follicle which will be later on result in ovulation. So this diagram explains, on the left hand side of the diagram is the description of the HPO axis, and on the right side that's the diagram which shows the action of the hormone contraception over the HPO axis. In presence of estrogen and progesterone, because of the negative feedback mechanism, there is a decrease in the gonadotropin releasing hormone, and in turn there is a decrease in the inhibition of the luteinizing hormone and follicular stimulating hormone. Because of this, there is synergistic action of prevention of LH surge, and that's why there is no ovulation. So this is the main mechanism by which the oral contraceptive pill acts, or mainly all the hormonal contraception acts. Sorry. And the other mechanism action of hormonal contraceptive is the progesterone component of it produces thick, viscid and scanty cervical mucus. This thick, viscid and scanty cervical mucus is hostile to sperm, and that's why the sperm cannot travel through this thick mucus, and that's why are not able to go through the uterine cavity and reach the ovum in the tube. The progesterone component of the hormonal contraception is probably also causes uterine and tubal contractions. It mainly increases the tubal motility. Because of this, there is a rapid transit of the ovum in the tube, so it reaches the uterine cavity before the endometrium is ready and susceptible for its implantation. The progesterone also causes endometrial hyperplasia. So if there is endometrial hyperplasia, it is unsuitable for implantation. That's why that is another method of contraception. So in summary, the hormone, the estrogen and progesterone, they have an action on the gonadotropin releasing hormone and in turn on the FSH and LH. And because of synergistic action on FSH and LH, is a prevention of ovulation, and that's why egg is not released. And progesterone, it prevents attachment of the egg to the uterus. That is because of the thin lining of the uterus. It is not ready for implantation. And progesterone also causes thick cervical mucus, and because of this prevents the sperm from reaching the egg. The oral contraceptive, which is the most popular form of oral hormone contraception being used, comes in various forms. The most common being a combined oral contraceptive. It consists of estrogen and progesterone component of it. And the combined oral contraceptive is usually monophasic, that is, the fixed amount of estrogen and the fixed amount of progesterone are present. And then there is a multiphasic pill, which is it can be biphasic form or in the triphasic form. The details will come to later. And then there is emergency or the postcoital contraception. The hormones can be used also as immediately after intercourse, and this causes contraception. It's actually not a contraception. How it acts will come to when we are dealing with the emergency contraception. And then there is mini pill, which is a progesterone only pill, usually used during the puerperium.